Before we begin, this is a quick prayer for healing for anyone who might need it. Mi sheberach avotenu. May the source of strength, who blessed the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say Amen.
I'm Oz Perlman, the mentalist. What is Sharsheret?
Isn't it like a Jewish holiday?
It's a slinky dog.
It's an eggplant dish.
A song in Hebrew.
A type of potted plant.
My favorite snack. It's really yummy.
Isn't it like a trendy restaurant in New York?
My new favorite video game.
The only shampoo I like to put through my lovely locks.
Close, but not quite. Sharsheret is the only national Jewish breast and ovarian cancer organization serving women and families of all backgrounds. It doesn't take a mentalist to figure that out.
Hello. Welcome to Sharsheret's Midsummer Miracles. I am your host, Valicia Lakay, and I am an ovarian cancer survivor. Tonight will be about love, legacy, sharing, community, but most importantly, we are here to celebrate life and the wonderful work Sharsheret is doing. I am joining you virtually this evening. So I know things are different, but the perseverance and the strength of the Sharsheret community hasn't changed one bit. And now I would like to introduce you to Sharsheret's own Dina Muskin-Goldberg to tell us more about Sharsheret and why it's so important.
Felicia, thank you so much for guiding us this evening. We're really looking forward to hearing about your personal connection to Sharsheret and a very moving interpretation of Oseh Shalom in just a bit. The Jewish community is hard hit by breast and ovarian cancer, and Sharsheret is leading the Jewish response. Hebrew for the word chain, Sharsheret provides connection to those who need it most. And if this present moment has shown us anything, it's how important connection truly is. So tonight, please support Sharsheret's chain of life-saving work and make a donation at midsummermiracles.com or text the word Midsummer to 44321. And we're really excited to announce that 3 major donors have come together to double the impact of your support. They are offering you the opportunity to match your gift, any gift that comes in tonight, any size, dollar for dollar, up to $100,000. While we may not be in the same room tonight, we'll be inspired by stars from Broadway and television, and we'll spend time with the incomparable star of The Nanny and founder of Cancer Schmancer, Fran Drescher. We'll also see firsthand the impact Sharsheret has had on women and their families, and hear from Sharsheret's partners in the medical community, donors, and volunteers about what motivates them to give.
Tonight, we celebrate life with Sharsheret. And with that, a remarkable woman without whom none of this would be possible, late and dear founder, Rochelle Shoretz. It's no accident that today is July 27th, Rochelle's birthday, and what better way to honor her memory than to bring together those she loved, her friends, her family, and the community that she built on her special day.
Rochelle was the life of every party, of every meeting, of every conference, really of every room she was in.
Rachi, as some of us were privileged to call her, was a visionary, an outstanding mother, a great leader, but to me, she was a fun, sincere, supportive, and kind friend.
Rochelle was 28 years old when she was diagnosed with breast cancer. She was a young mom and she was working full time, and she just wanted to speak to another woman who who shared those concerns. So she was introduced to another woman in her 20s.
Our initial conversation was, where are all the women? We can't be the only two young women who have breast cancer. And by imagining and creating Sharsheret, she single-handedly took away that need.
We met around her dining room table and learned of Rocky's dream of connecting young Jewish women facing breast cancer to survivors, sisters from whom they could get guidance and hope.
What my mom loved most about Sharsheret was that she was able to help so many people from all different walks of life in their happy times and their sad times.
In whatever she did, she was an extremely tenacious person and had the drive to power through no matter what went in her way.
Today was Rochie's birthday, and Rochie absolutely loved celebrating her birthday. She loved celebrating life. Sharsheret is all about helping and reminding women who are fighting for their lives to live every minute to its fullest.
We're still talking about it. Still watching the amazing work that Sharsheret is doing, still knowing there are thousands of women still being helped by her dream that started all those years ago.
Watching the organization grow and service so many people in so many different areas would really, I imagine, be her dream come true.
When I was diagnosed the first time, there was this sense that I'd get to the finish line and I'd be done. I would be able to put cancer behind me. And now I was realizing that I wasn't really going to be able to put cancer behind me. I was going to be able to learn perhaps to walk comfortably beside cancer, but I wasn't ever really going to be finished.
It's hard to imagine that Sharsheret was actually once a grassroots effort of just a few volunteers. Today, we're partnering with breast cancer and ovarian cancer colleagues, serving as a role model for culturally relevant, tailored support and education, even beyond the Jewish community.
I think the strength really comes in living with the knowledge that your time is limited. You know, when I look back on my life, I really feel like I've hit all of the important points. I had a wonderful marriage. I had 2 amazing children. I've had great friends and family. I've had religion. I've had an amazing career. I've met interesting people. I've traveled. I don't think anybody could look at that and see a sad story. I really feel like I had a great life.
A big part of Rochelle's great life was spent improving the lives of others. It's been 5 years since her passing, but her legacy lives on. Sharsheret's support of women and families continues today stronger than ever. Let's take a look at the work Sharsheret is doing now.
Knowing that there were 2 people in my family who had very similar types of cancer and were diagnosed so closely together was very scary for me. I thought, oh my gosh, is my mom BRCA positive? Am I BRCA positive?
I'm the genetic counselor at Sharsheret. I can answer any questions you have about cancer genetics free of charge.
Sharsheret offers that education of being able to screen and knowing those things and saying, okay, here's somebody that you can speak to about what to do next and you're not alone in this. It helps you have direction.
Sharsheret on-campus programming has taught me about all the different educational and emotional resources there are, not only for women with cancer, but also for their families.
I'm a medical oncologist. I have firsthand experience with the power of Sharsheret's personal touch in helping people navigate complex medical decisions and the private issues that come up around breast cancer.
Sharsheret is an excellent resource for my patients who were recently diagnosed with breast and ovarian cancer.
We follow each woman throughout the journey. So we're calling when we know that they're going in for surgery and when they're having treatment. And we're in touch with them even months after they finish treatment because we understand that survivorship also has complicated and emotional concerns and issues.
What I think is incredible about Sharsheret is they're moving with the times and moving with women's needs. And they are now subsidizing, helping women with services for wigs, micropigmentation, tattoos, to keep their sense of themselves and their beauty.
Men should also know that they can call Sharsheret directly
and say, hey, talk to me about what's gonna happen, what I could expect, what I'm gonna go through.
It is so meaningful to me that Sharsheret empowers women and their family to tell their stories and to share their voices and for others to learn both from Sharsheret but from each other.
Knowledge is power, and Sharsheret means knowledge to me.
My mom was diagnosed with breast cancer. She was 41 and I was 13. And Sharsheret didn't exist back then. I'm thrilled that Sharsheret exists today. And I often say that I can't wait for the day when Sharsheret can close its doors for lack of interest. But until then, I'm really glad that Sharsheret is there for all of us.
I happened to take a at-home genetic test and found out from the genetic test that I had a lot of Ashkenazi Jewish DNA. I was several months later diagnosed with breast cancer. Knowing my Jewish ancestry saved my life. It made me push forward to get further testing, and that is the point in time in which I found out that I was BRCA2 positive. I knew there was no question about it. I had to not only have a double mastectomy, but I decided to have a prophylactic oophorectomy. At that point, I just lost it. I didn't know who to call next. I saw a brochure in the corner of the room and had the words Sharsheret on it. The information that was on the cover had to do with Jewish women, and based upon what I had just found out about my own DNA, I said, I wonder if they can help me. The side effects emotionally from me personally were far worse than the physical side effects. My social worker and I speak at least once a month. I call her to tell her all the great things that are happening. I call her when I'm afraid when there's an upcoming test. Every time I get off the telephone, I feel better. I feel empowered. I am an African-American woman with Ashkenazi Jewish DNA, but even without the Jewish DNA, I know that Sharsheret would have opened their arms to me.
Hi, Hazel. How are you?
I'm fine. How are you, Bonnie? It's good to see you.
So nice to see you. You look gorgeous.
Thank you.
How is everything going? Tell me what's been going on.
Monday, I had a little procedure done. I have to admit, it was very, very emotional for me. I'm sorry, I get a little welled up with tears sometimes, but when I came home and removed the bandages, it took me right back to what I went through when I removed my bandages after the mastectomy. I cried, and I have to admit, I remembered your words that you told me about the fact that it's okay to have a bad day.
You are such an inspiration, and
Thank you.
Have been on a roller coaster of emotions as well throughout this whole situation. Tell me about that first time when you heard that you have your diagnosis and that you reached out to Sharsheret. Do you remember that day?
So at first, I wasn't thinking that much about emotional support. It was just, okay, what do I do? I have cancer. How bad is this cancer? Am I going to live? Am I going to die? But I knew that something else was missing. There was just an overwhelming sadness and hopelessness that I felt. And I picked up the phone and I called. And I gave my background and I said everything that was going on. Immediately, I just felt so welcomed. It's a constant reminder that I'm not alone. The first thing I thought was, you know what? Maybe these women would understand what I'm going through. My family was there to support me 100%, but it was so different speaking with someone who was a professional. Because of your experiences there and all the different people with whom you've dealt, you're better prepared to help a woman who's going through what I'm going through. And I remember saying, Bonnie, can I have a minute of your time? You said, Hazel, I have more than a minute for you. Whatever it is you need to talk about, I'm there. And that's the kind of support that I get from Sharsheret.
I know that you're going to continue to persevere through no matter what. You just have that fire and that pit bull inside of you to keep on going.
Thank you, Bonnie. Couldn't do it without you guys.
In 2017, my mother-in-law, Marlene Ashkenazi, passed away from ovarian cancer after a 10-year battle. She and I both were battling ovarian cancer at the same time. We were multiple generations apart, 2 different backgrounds, 1 life-changing disease. The last week of her life, I was not able to be with her. So while she was resting peacefully at home, I called her house and I sung the one song I knew in Hebrew. Oseh shalom bin romav, hu yaseh shalom leinu. Oseh shalom bin romav, hu yaseh shalom leinu. Oseh shalom bin romav, hu yaseh shalom leinu. Yaseh shalom, yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu, v'yakai Yisrael. Yaseh shalom, yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu, v'yakai Yisrael.
We are here tonight to celebrate Sharsheret's 19th anniversary. Please remember all the work that Rochelle created and has left to all of us to continue. So give a little more this year.
What it's all about is women and bravery and strength.
A chain that connects one survivor to another.
It's the most meaningful way I know to help women and their families who are going through breast and ovarian cancer.
They do amazing work that nobody else is doing.
And we all have to help carry this load. Too much for any one single person.
I feel especially committed to and indeed passionate about helping women who are facing this frightening, painful, and at times, I'm sure, overwhelming battle.
Sharsheret's wide reach created a win-win situation for us and has enabled Iris and I to expand the impact of our planned giving.
It is now my inherited obligation to keep Sharsheret alive, to support my generation, my children's generation, and their children's generation.
I give to Sharsheret from my friend, Lisa Altman, who even through her own difficult battle with breast cancer, dedicated herself to supporting other women who were dealing with similar issues at the time.
Thank you to all of our generous donors, and thank you, Esty, for giving us a window into Lisa Altman's unwavering dedication to Sharsheret. What a night we've had so far. Sharsheret's work is so important and generates hope, comfort, and dignity, especially during the pandemic. Sharsheret is on the front lines of the mental health crisis that is coming out of COVID for a very vulnerable population. Women who are at greater risk of developing critical cases of COVID, who have had their cancer treatments postponed, and who need to go through treatments completely alone. Can you even imagine having chemo all by yourself? Sharsheret is there for these women, providing free and remote mental health counseling and weekly educational webinars about COVID and cancer. These are unprecedented times, and Sharsheret needs your support more than ever before. Please take a moment now and make a donation at midsummermiracles.com or text the word Midsummer to 44321. Even if you've given a gift already, do all that you can, and even a little bit more. With the match tonight, your gift will have double the impact. Help us reach our goal of $100,000, and together, we'll improve lives and save lives. Now, let's turn our attention to 3 outstanding people who, just like Rochelle, have devoted themselves to changing lives for the better.
I have an incredible sister-in-law. Her name is Lauren Weiser, and she was diagnosed with breast cancer.
Linda's my best friend. Linda was always there for me from the moment that I was diagnosed, throughout my treatment,
and she continues to be there for me.
Lauren called me to tell me about this organization that Shoretz was starting, and that I must come and listen to Rochelle speak, and that's really where it started.
She became probably one of the strongest volunteers from that day forward, bringing her friends along with her who became volunteers in the office, chaired luncheons, were physically present to do whatever work Sharsheret might have needed so that it could grow.
I'm very proud to have started at the ground level with Sharsheret. And when a woman is diagnosed, the first thing I do is tell them they must call Sharsheret. I explain to them the importance of knowing and having an organization that will be there and will hold their hand and will give their kids help and will help their husbands and will get them involved in a community. The Sharsheret community is incredible.
Sharsheret today for Linda has actually taken on a meaning, I think, that far exceeds me. It is part of who she is as an individual. It is a very important thread in her life for her family, for her community, and I think for the Jewish world at large.
I hope in the future to continue to be involved because I know how important it is.
She does the things for people that I think most others aren't thinking of.
Linda was amazing to my children. Linda took my children out to the mall. She's probably one of the most giving people that I know.
Linda is love. Linda is family and friendship, generosity, warmth, fun. Linda is the kind of person that I could not have envisioned that I would be fortunate enough to have in my family, but I'm so grateful that I do.
I first heard about Sharsheret when my mom was diagnosed with breast cancer. It was very helpful to know that when my mom was looking for support, she had Sharsheret in the community to lend that support. And she found friends who would be able to show her what the next years would be like and offer her the emotional support that only someone else who had been through it themselves could. Knowing that Sharsheret was there for my family made me feel enormous gratitude. A year after graduating college, I had moved to Chicago. At that point, I had an idea for a project. I would ride around Lake Michigan, going 100 miles every day for 10 days straight, and in the process, hopefully inspire some people to consider donating to Sharsheret.
I remember him saying, I'm thinking about riding around Lake Michigan. Then I was like, are you nuts? He said, by the way, I'm going to do it to benefit Sharsheret. So I remember thinking like, wow, that's unbelievable, really?
You know, to take something bad and make something good out of it is the best possible response.
It was something that was important to me and important to my family. Knowing that the community was behind us and donating to Sharsheret made the project all the more worthwhile.
It's inspiring that he's made such an impact at a young age. He's a great ambassador of Sharsheret, and I'm looking forward to seeing what the future holds for him and his family.
I'm incredibly proud of Michael for receiving this honor, something that really is near and dear to my heart. And to have a child that finds something so important that you find important, that's the best feeling that a parent can have.
In the future, the idea would be to run from Washington, D.C. to Pittsburgh, spend some time in Pittsburgh exploring the city, and then running back. It's ambitious, it's a big project, and I hope that my friends and family will come running with me.
You know, I never really thought much about whether I would get cancer or not. I knew it was something my mom had. When the doctor first told me, you have cancer, I probably was a little bit worried about how I was going to tell Jay, you know, how I was going to tell my father, who had lived through this before.
Having Linda diagnosed with breast cancer was very much like a sucker punch. When it became real, it was like, okay, stop, and what do I do now? How are we going to deal with this? I had 4 young kids, and Linda, she took care of everything.
When I was diagnosed, I reached out to Sharsheret. You know, having people to talk to who were familiar with what I was going through was extremely helpful. And it's an amazing group of volunteers, an amazing group of people that work there and really do everything to ease the journey for us.
Sharsheret is important because it provides so much for so many people. It really was there for a sense of comfort. Everyone deserves Sharsheret.
For me, Sharsheret really has been an important part of my life. And I've tried to show that to my kids, that it's important to be involved with your causes and to see who was there for you when you were at a time of need. The first year after cancer, we walked in Race for the Cure, and I was able to participate as a survivor. I've served on a panel, I've stuffed envelopes, I've served as a benefit chair for many years.
Linda, this is a long time coming. You don't like to be honored, you don't like to be the center of attention. It's not your way to have the spotlight on you. She's just an amazing friend, mother, sister, daughter, and I'm so happy that we can honor you and celebrate 10 years of this being in the past.
Linda, you have been this warm, caring person.
We all count on you, and we savor the fact that you're there to remember with, to do with, and to plan with. Thank you for being who you are.
As a survivor, being a part of Sharsheret is very empowering. I started when I was a caller looking for help, but now, 10 years down the road, I can be their support. I can be there for people, and I know how important that is. You're part of a greater community, and you have to do what you can. Everyone lends a hand, because you never know when you're the one in need.
We've heard so many inspiring stories this evening. Up next is one of strength, resilience, and the power of having someone by your side who knows exactly what you're going through.
I had woken up and was getting dressed and all of a sudden felt something. And I went, well, that doesn't seem right. The next morning, I went for a mammogram and an ultrasound and biopsy. And about 20 minutes later, they walked back in the room and told me that it was breast cancer. When they took the MRI, they saw something on the liver. A few days later, we were called and told that it was, in fact, metastatic breast cancer, and it had already spread to my lymph nodes and to my liver. It will never be out. There is no remission. And both coming to grips with that yourself and explaining it to others becomes a challenge. Everybody's like, so when will you finish? And I'm like, I won't. I'm like, finishing is a bad thing. It was a no-brainer that I was going to reach out to Sharsheret. I was eventually placed with Rochelle, who is phenomenal. It's just having a friend who understands, who I don't have to explain the lingo. It just gives you this very concrete but very safe place to go to. None of us are milk. We don't have expiration dates stamped on us, even with this diagnosis. And yes, it is true that it is terminal. It's not terminal necessarily today. There's hope that I could really be here for a while.
Hey, Rach.
Hi, what a treat. This is great.
I know. I'm like, this is so much fun. We should do this every day.
You seriously have overcome a lot. And, going through a cancer diagnosis, one, and being told that, oh, okay, now you have a metastatic diagnosis. That's one stress and difficulty. And then now COVID hits and it's like, oh my goodness. I know you've had some personal experience with COVID itself and what's that been like for you? How are you doing with that?
I was feeling under the weather, but really thought it was a sinus infection. None of what they were saying COVID was. I didn't have a fever. My oncologist was like, why don't we err on the side of caution since we really don't understand anything?
Right.
And a week later, she called me and goes, hey, it was positive. And I'm like, what? Thank God I was not put in the hospital. I was not on a respirator. I was not the scary stories that you see on TV. But it was just all the stress of back and forth and going into the hospital and can I have my treatment? Can I not have my treatment? My friends tease me that if it was a movie, everybody at some point would go, okay, this is ridiculous. This can't all happen to one person in 1 year.
I super beyond admire you for your positivity and the way that you always find the light in things and your resiliency and you push through because you realize like, that's just what you have to do, right? Sometimes
I have long said before all of this, you have two choices. You either get up and you laugh through it and you get over it, or you curl up in the fetal position and cry. I'm not going to say that there aren't moments. Like I've told you many, many times, Saturday mornings when everybody seems, disappears to synagogue and I'm sometimes at home. But those are the moments that it hits me. I've always been a person that looks ahead. So both in the positive and the negative. So when I got diagnosed in April, my very close friend's daughter, who we're very close to, who's like a big sister to my daughter, was getting married in June. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to rest up for 3 days before the wedding. I just want to dance at, this friend's daughter's wedding.
And remember, a year ago, your goal was, I want to see my daughter graduate and my son's bar mitzvah and all these things. And look where you are now. It's near to impossible to not go, oh my goodness, will I get to do this? Or will I get to do that? And think about those tough times ahead, but you're doing your best. And no one could ask any more of you than that, your best. And then when you have those tough times, we call Rachel.
I sometimes forget. People ask me when I mention oh, I was talking with Rach, and they're like, what? And I'm like my Sharsheret person. And they're like, well, what does that mean? I go, well, I think officially she's a social worker. I'm like, but I don't know. She's just my person at Sharsheret.
I appreciate the fact that you're always so open and candid with me. And it is also really beyond my pleasure to get to be here for you. And I look forward to continuing to do it through every step of the way. And I'm glad that, we share this experience with each other.
100%. And I can't, thank you enough for, I joke putting up with me, but, just being there. I really feel like God sent me you and that I get to have this relationship and that I have this person that your age.
When you're faced with a cancer diagnosis, your entire world falls apart. But Sharsheret was there to help guide me, pick me up, and provide me and my family with the support that we needed.
When my mom was diagnosed with breast cancer later in life, we needed information and support, and we didn't know where to turn.
I had my oncologist and my surgeon, who all provided me with world-class medical care. But equal to that care was the support that I received from Sharsheret.
Sharsheret let me see that I had options.
Sharsheret sent my kids busy boxes to keep them busy since, I was not feeling well or in bed.
When I was diagnosed with breast cancer, Sharsheret stepped in and helped us in a way I did not know I even needed.
Sharsheret was essential to our family's survival and sanity.
My sister was diagnosed with breast cancer at the age of 40.
All of a sudden, in a split second, her whole life changed, and Sharsheret was there to offer her support.
My adult stepdaughter in California found out that she had an unusual type of breast cancer. Fortunately, I called Sharsheret.
The financial subsidies that I received from Sharsheret was over $2,000 to help me cover the cost of a cold capping.
Being able to get this wig has been transformational. Some of my friends actually say that I need to keep my hair like this forever.
Recently, we just did a painting COVID webinar, which was from the comfort of our home. And just for an hour, I was able to forget that I was a cancer patient or even quarantined.
Sharsheret is like a good friend. They're always there for you by your side without judgment and offering great advice. Thank you, Sharsheret, for being there for me in my own personal journey and for everything that you do.
Sharsheret's mission is to improve lives and save lives. With tremendous appreciation for what each of you has already done, I offer you the opportunity to make a lasting impact on a mother, a wife, a sister, a daughter, a husband, a friend, a child, a partner. Make a donation to midsummermiracles.com or text Midsummer to 44321. And remember, every donation will be matched up to $100,000. And now to introduce a very special guest, someone who has dedicated her life to continuing Rochelle's legacy and dream, the CEO of Sharsheret, Alana Silber.
Thank you, Felicia. You are a terrific host, and thank you so much for sharing so personally. I'm really excited to introduce you to an incredible woman, a woman who is a hero to me, my mother, my grandmother, and thousands of Jewish women out there, a woman who starred as the nanny and founded the organization Cancer Smancer. Join me in welcoming our special guest star, Fran Drescher.
Hi, how are you? Thank you so much.
Hi, Fran. I can't believe that I'm actually in a conversation with you. When The Nanny came out on TV, my family went wild for it. My grandmother in Florida, my mother in upstate New York, and I was actually living in Queens at the time.
Oh, that's so sweet.
If you could tell me a little bit about, when you were diagnosed and how you were able to take that and do incredible things. I mean, run your own show and then create an incredible organization that helps other people with cancer. I think that would inspire all of us. We all want to hear your story.
Well, I always say that bad things happen to good people and no one leaves this planet unscathed. So really, it's what we do with it, how we grow through it, and what becomes of us as a result is what makes all the difference. And one of the things that I discovered was that turning pain into purpose is really healing. And I think that that's why I started the Cancer Schmancer movement, because I first wrote the book Cancer Schmancer, and I realized that the book was not the end, but just the beginning of what's now become a life mission. And I honestly feel like I got famous, I got cancer, and I lived to talk about it. So I'm talking.
Sharsheret is an organization that was started by women, run by women, and we're really proud of that. What we do at Sharsheret and what you do at Cancer Schmancer is we're connecting women to each other and women to resources and partnering with the medical community. And this holistic approach, that's what we take at Sharsheret. It's about the whole body.
I think that that's so admirable because it's so important. When I was diagnosed with the cancer, and I immediately was, given a hysterectomy. I mean, my head was swirling. And back then, 20 years ago, the internet wasn't what it is today. There was no Google. It wasn't like this. It's so good that, a resource like yours exists today. You must surround yourself with people that are going to help you, that are able to be strong for you. Unconditional love is really important because it's a very isolating experience when you're sick.
You're laying it out there, and that's what women do when they call Sharsheret and they speak to social workers. They're really giving of themselves. They're vulnerable at the time, and I feel like you're sharing with us so personally. It strengthens other people that it's okay. You don't have to be what everyone sees you on the outside.
One of the great life lessons that I learned was that side by side with grief lies joy. When we're in the depths of despair, it's very hard to be joyful. But that's part of the challenge as well as the opportunity to seek the tiny miracles and the joyful moments and the humor that exists even when you're suffering. It's there.
Together, we're just even stronger. I'm so grateful for your partnership.
I couldn't agree more. And I thank you so much. And I thank you for all you do on behalf of the greater good. It's a very selfless organization. And I'm sure that you do your mom and your grandma proud.
Thank you. That means so much to me.
So I'm a marathon runner. And in early August, getting ready for the New York City Marathon, it's when the long runs start. So I was getting dressed at 5:30 in the morning, and I felt a lump. And I stopped cold. I knew in that instant exactly what it was. When I first heard this is cancer, there's that horrible pit in my stomach and just an overwhelming sadness. I could not imagine my life after the surgery. I didn't know what that was going to look like. I couldn't visualize it. So I kind of had it in my head that maybe I wasn't going to survive the surgery. My dear friend recommended that I call Sharsheret. Sharsheret saved my life. Sharsheret gave me hope. I knew at that point I had another marathon in me. I knew that I was going to survive the surgery and I was going to be running again. And now I'm running for Team Sharsheret.
Elizabeth.
Hello, Michael. How are you?
Good to see you. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. I'm doing really, really well. The whole pandemic has been quite an extraordinary journey for all of us, huh?
And your journey began 9 months ago when I suggested you reach out to Sharsheret.
You know, you said call Sharsheret, and it really was a game changer. It's not just the information they give you. I also got a peer supporter. My peer supporter changed my life. We're still close. We talk constantly. She gave me the ability to see past my diagnosis.
So her name is Amy?
Yes.
Have you and she ever met?
We haven't met in person. I don't think I know what she looks like. I have in my head what she looks like.
How do you have a special connection like this with somebody you've never met before?
It's the power of Sharsheret. She listened to me and she really heard me. I could not fathom what it was going to look like when I woke up. And she said, well, you're going to wake up and you're going to have on a granny bra. And it just made me laugh so much.
Wait a second. There's somebody in the waiting room. Let me let them in. Elizabeth.
Okay, I'm going to cry. Hello. My gosh, this is the most amazing moment of my ever.
How are you? You look amazing.
Thank you. It's the whole journey has just been, and I say to people always, it's Amy. I mean, even through COVID, how are you doing? You know, our messages, I look back, our messages.
I was going through the messages last night. It was all about being sick and the process. And then it was just like, okay, she's my friend. And, you know, like I tell her how I'm getting through COVID.
I've known a few people who've been diagnosed during this. To have cancer when I did, when people could come see me, when I could come home and have a support group around me, I said, now more than ever, call Sharsheret because they will give you that support.
I didn't find Sharsheret until after my surgery and after I was already into the chemo. And it was like, wow, if I had that person earlier, that person to call and say, what's going to happen?
I think the most important thing that you gave me too was hope. And I really feel that that's what Sharsheret is. And that's what it's about. It's about being able to live in that moment.
I'd like to introduce you to somebody who's been an instrumental part of Sharsheret, somebody who's made all of this possible. Stan Bernstein is a longtime donor. Stan, how does it feel to see your work and the results?
This was the most incredible evening, and I got to thank Elizabeth and Amy for opening my eyes and actually letting me witness what we call the Sharsheret miracle. But now we've actually seen the results of the Sharsheret miracle. So awe-inspiring, I'd like to do this. I've been committed to Sharsheret monetarily for many years, but based on what I just saw, in honor of Elizabeth and Amy, and actually in honor of all the Elizabeths and all the Amys, I would like to raise my commitment this year to $18,000 for the year. Not everybody can do that. So some people might want to join me and give $18. Some might want to give $1,800. Some could give the $18,000, and hopefully there are people that could give more. But there's one thing that I learned tonight. Sharsheret needs the resources to help all the Amys and all the Elizabeths. And I can't think of anything better to do with whatever money you could give than to help actual people. We can see exactly the benefits. It's a payment with the best dividends in the world.
I can't say enough thank yous.
All three of you have made my life so much better. You've enriched my life. You know, I have this amazing friend, Amy, who got me through the darkest days of my life. And I have you to thank for that.
I've heard it said
that people come into our lives for a reason, bringing something we must learn, and we are led to those who help us most to grow if we let them, and we help them in return. Well, I don't know if I believe that's true, but I know I'm who I am today because I knew you. Like a comet pulled from orbit as it passes the sun, like a stream that meets a boulder halfway through the wood. Who can say if I've been changed for the better? But because I knew you, I have been changed for good.
It well may be that we will never meet again in this lifetime. So let me say before we part, so much of me is made of what I learned from you. You'll be with me like a handprint on my heart. And now, whatever way our story ends, I know you'll have rewritten mine by being my friend. Like a ship blown from its mooring by a wind off the sea, like a seed dropped by a skybird in a distant wood. Who can say if I've been changed for the better? But because I knew you,
because I knew you,
I have been changed for good. And just to clear the air, I ask forgiveness for the things I've done you blame me for.
but then I guess we know there's blame to share, and none of it seems to matter anymore. Like a comet pulled from orbit as it passes the sun,
by a wind off the sea,
like a stream that meets
like
a
a
boulder
seed dropped by a
halfway
in the wood.
Who can say if I've been changed for the better?
I do believe I have been changed for the better.
And because I knew you,
because I knew you, because I knew you, I have been changed for good.
Thank you, my dear friends and stars of Wicked, Mandy Gonzalez and Brittany Johnson, for that beautiful song. Mandy, we wish you a speedy recovery from breast cancer. We are all inspired by your talents, your beauty, your grace, and your resilience. I have been so honored to be your host this evening for Sharsheret. We are all links in the chain, and we are all here together to strengthen the chain of support for women and families facing breast cancer and ovarian cancer. If you have been inspired by this evening, and I know you have, please make a donation to midsummermiracles.com or text Midsummer to 44321. And remember, all donations will be matched up to $100,000. As the pandemic continues, we will continue to social distance, but remember the work that Sharsheret is doing is more vital than ever. I have loved being with you today, and I want to thank you for your time, but mostly I want to thank you for your efforts. Be safe, be well. Shalom.
Thank you, Sharsheret.
Thank you, Sharsheret, for being here for us unconditionally.
Thank you, thank you, thank you, Sharsheret.
For all that you do, it's an honor to be involved.
Thank you, Sharsheret.
For the support and resources you provide to anyone who needs it.
Thank you, Sharsheret.
Thank you, Sharsheret,
for all you've done for me.
For always being there for everyone.
For inspiring me, allowing me, encouraging me to be an advocate.
And reminding us that we are really never alone.
Thank you, Sharsheret, for everything you do for women and their families in need.
For the friendship, support, and strength.
For being a shining jewel to all the people you help.
Thank you for letting us help you.
Thank you for giving us that privilege.
For providing me with my breasties, women who have become my closest friends.
Thank you, Sharsheret, for helping me safeguard my health.
Thank you, Sharsheret.
We love Sharsheret.
Thank you, Sharsheret.
I love Sasha.
Thank you, Sharsheret.
For the zchut, the privilege and honor to have benefited from your resources, inspiring me to reach out to others and to educate with support and love, because that ultimately is what changes lives.
Be well and long life, the two best gifts of all.